Good morning. Good morning, all of you. So happy to see all of you today. My name is Linda Hatfield. As Annie said, I'm Vice President of Business Development at Michigan United Credit Union, and along with my associate Rebecca Gilroy, we are proud to sponsor the Professional Edge, and we are a proud legacy sponsor of this wonderful Birmingham Bloomfield Chamber. I can't go without saying it because Rebecca has me on film and my CEO is going to see this, so I have to tell you a little bit about the credit union. So currently the credit union has a 1.99 home equity line of credit special, and the rate ends June 28th, so get out there. 1.99 is pretty good. We also have a table set up in the back with a lot more information on our products and services, and some fun giveaways for you ladies and men. We have some for you too. So please stop by before you leave. But I know why you're here, so I'm really pleased right now to introduce to you the women of Prodio. Kellie McCormick, partner and co-founder of Prodio, has a professional background in developing, marketing, and licensing consumer brands. Chelsea Paar is partner and co-founder of Prodio, brings a professional background in global sales, business development, and launching retail brands. Prodio is a woman-owned and operated marketing and branding company located in Birmingham and services nationwide. Through their creative collective network, they offer customized solutions to help businesses scale effectively. Prodio provides personalized tools and training to strengthen your brand foundation and help you develop a successful long-term strategy. They are your partner in navigating the complexities of business growth. So without further ado, the women of Prodio.
And so we saw an opportunity to create those nimble and flexible solutions that are customized to each client, as well as source elevated and excellent talent as part of our creative collective, and put that together with the overarching strategy and follow up with reporting and everything so that you can learn and grow as we're an extension of those teams, focused on really educating, giving you not only the tools to succeed, but teaching the clients and their teams to use it so that we can be a great return on investment. But what we're really here today is to talk about personal brand development, where it relates to growth in your career and your business. Our tagline at Prodio is "Together we grow," and this morning we hope that between the presentation Kellie and I will give, as well as the insights from our panel, we can talk about how we can help each other grow and support each other on those personal brand journeys. So today, there we go. Being all about growth, we're going to first talk about personal branding. There's a lot of lingo out there that maybe not everybody is comfortable with as it relates to personal branding. Talking about what it is, why it's important, how to implement it, and most importantly, how it is a constant evolution. Then we'll go into some hot topics with social media. This seems a constant conversation for us, so we can hopefully add some value there. Panel discussion, some questions, and then certainly additional chamber networking and connections to be made. So what is personal branding? So if you want to take a look at your personal branding, a really great way to simplify it is, how are other people seeing you? What's your reputation? If someone was going to introduce you to someone else, what are those, first couple lines that they're going to describe you as? What are you known for? Do you feel others understand your main message? If you're in a situation where you feel like, people don't really understand exactly what I do, or they kind of misinterpret what I do, or maybe they glom on to one aspect of what your business or what you do in your career, but you don't feel like that's really the priority, it's a time to take a look at how you can alter your messaging around personal branding. And this will help educate others on exactly how you want to be seen and what those main messages are. The great news with personal branding is those can evolve over time. They may reflect the cyclical nature of your business or your job role from quarter to quarter, or what you're focusing on. But the most important part of this is that your personal branding is that strategy unique to you, so that you can provide those lasting impressions that people leave with and that then you're known for. You're building a reputation for yourself. And of course you can, focus on your greatest highlights, speak to accomplishments, really find what those unique value propositions are within you, your business, and your career. And then focusing on that professional identity of like, what do you bring to the table? What are those accomplishments? And I think this last line here is the most important. Is it's not just about self-promotion, it's about authenticity, consistency, and building trust with your audience. If anybody has ever or maybe recently worked on their resume, I think that is one of the most challenging exercises sort of in personal branding, right? Of like your classic CV doesn't cut it anymore. Now you have to give descriptions of yourself and contributions and everything. But it's a really great exercise to pare things down into what are those top level messages. However, it's really difficult to talk about ourselves, and so that's why personal branding is something that you should always spend a little bit of time on as you go, because you can't wait until that resume. You want to celebrate what you're bringing to the table, what you're accomplishing every day. There's also a couple different lenses that we look for when it comes to personal branding. We've got a mix in this room between entrepreneurs, business owners, directors, people looking to scale up and what's that next step in their career. And personal branding is important across the board in order to contribute to that growth plan. With Kellie and myself being co-founders of Prodio, our personal brand also is very closely connected to Prodio's brand, right? Because since we are the owners, the operators, how people see us is a direct connection to how they see Prodio and the value that it brings. Therefore, when looking at your personal brand, you want to make sure that if you're trying to promote your business, that it is closely aligned to how you're interacting every day. This is going to help build that awareness of your business and what role you serve within it, because most likely people are going to connect with you, resonate with you, and that's going to lead to the connection of the business, attracting those new customers, gaining a bigger market share, but also creating those loyal customers, those super fans that will go out and promote your business again and again. They're going to probably promote you based upon your level of service or the end result that they receive from your business, but that is directly tied to the experience with you, how you made them feel, and how you taught them their experience or how they should perceive their experience. And also educate them. All of us in this room are specialists in what we do, right? And there is so much beneath the surface of what are those, 30 seconds we get to share at Chamber Coffee, or the 60 seconds that maybe we present in our action group. So really going into those personal moments and connections and education of what you do or how you can help bringing real value is hugely important. And then, of course, we've got the other end of, hey, I work for someone else, or I work for a big corporation, and I'm looking to further my career. I'm looking for that personal growth. Show of hands, how many people have ever had a job where you feel like the step above you or two steps above you has no idea what you do on a daily basis? Okay, pretty close to the whole room, right? I'm telling you that you can help alleviate, maybe not completely solve this because it depends on who's above you, but you can alleviate this problem through personal branding, because it's hard to talk about ourselves, and we know on a daily basis how hard we're working, the strategy that we're bringing to the table, what contributions we're making in a whole bunch of different areas, right? So in order to work on your personal brand within your career, it's about that reputation. It's about how you talk about yourself, how you present yourself, how you advocate for yourself, so that you can receive that acknowledgement for the contributions made, respect within the value you bring to your role, recognition certainly for a job well done or mission accomplished, and ultimately hopefully that produces some growth opportunities with promotions and such. So that's why, to kind of kick off today, personal branding is something that we always think about branding in terms of a company and logos and fonts and colors, and believe me, we love that stuff. However, what really starts building your brand, whether it be your business or your personal branding, is that language, is that identity, that messaging. And if you take a little bit of time to build a plan, build a strategy, you'll see it, live a long lifespan and really deliver some great results for you. So with that, I'm going to hand this off to Kelly and talking about now how can you improve your personal brand.
Thank you, Chelsea. Yes, so we talked about why it's important, right? Now we're going to talk a little bit about how you can go about improving that personal branding. And the first thing, establish a foundation. Everything starts with a foundation. Foundation is key in everything we do, right? And really start asking yourself, some questions. What am I passionate about? Besides chocolate croissants, of course. What am I good at? What are my skill set and what value do I have? So really, it all starts with those fundamentals. Secondly, define your value proposition. What experiences have you had that really sets you apart in your field? What unique perspectives do you have that you can bring to the table and that really helps sort of define who you are? That starts to shape sort of this personal brand statement or some things about you that you can start to sort of help define you and your personal brand. Next, prioritize consistent messaging. Chelsea talked about messaging being very key. That does not come in a day's work. Messaging is something that we, even being experts in the field, continue to refine. It's just something that as you work your business, you'll start to find certain language. Oh, that resonated, or oh, I talked for 30 minutes and still no one knows what I do. So you really start to kind of look at that across all of your platforms. Your digital presence, which really means all of the areas where people can find you digitally, your website, your social channels, your business page, but then those tangible things, a resume, cover letters, do people send those anymore? It matters, right? Marketing materials, anything that's a touch point, you in person, all of that should reflect a similar brand identity to help really strengthen that awareness. Tell your story, right? Develop that unique brand voice that is really custom to you, that has a bit of your personality or the personality that you want your brand to represent, and be authentic and transparent. I know this word gets thrown around so much to be authentic, but really it's true. Customers, your clients, they're savvy and they know when they're not being, being told the truth, and being really truthful builds trust and it builds credibility in your brand. Be concise. We say practice KISS, which of course is keep it simple and short. Use clear language that's to the point rather than trying to be tricky or too wordy. This is hard. It's way easier to just kind of word vomit and tell everything that you do. But maybe you do only have that 30 seconds at a coffee or a short period of time to introduce your business. So what are those most important things? But keep it really simple. Speak to your audience. Understand what they really care about. Speak directly to them. Tailor your copy, your website, your email campaigns, tailor those to resonate exactly with their needs, with their preferences. What do you hear all the time people asking for in your services or in your product? Tailor those conversations to the value that you bring, and then try as hard as possible to tap into those emotions, to evoke that emotional experience tied to those, those life experiences to really help resonate your brand. All right, now I know we need a little bit of a brain break probably. we're going to do a fun activity. I have to credit Deborah Phillips in the room. I know she's here. We were at a chamber coffee recently, and we got talking, and she sparked my memory of a fun activity that we use in branding to kind of hone in on that language and to really kind of deep dive into the meat and potatoes of what it is that you want your brand to sort of be about. And to help with that sort of clear and concise language, we're going to do a little bit of an exercise. Show of hands, how many people know the story of 6 words or 6-word memoirs? Okay, I know Deborah does. So this is the story of 6 words. Legend has it that Mr. Ernest Hemingway once was challenged to write a story in only 6 words. This is what he wrote. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. It's kind of sad, right? That definitely elicits an emotional response to me. But it's 6 words and a couple use of punctuations here, and it was really powerful. So in 2006, Mr. Smith Larry Smith of Smith Magazine, he took this idea and gave it a little bit of a spin and put it out to his readership and challenged everyone to write a personal story of their lives, to describe their lives in only 6 words. So it really helps get you thinking and kind of puts things in perspective of what your priorities are. To try to write your story, your brand story, in just 6 words. So we don't want to take a lot of time now. This is something that you can work on with your teams. Take it with you. You can work on it, and do a couple versions of this. But we're going to take 2 minutes right now. You've got some cards on the table, and there should be some pens floating about. There's a couple extra pens up here if you need them. Take 2 minutes and try to write your 6-word memoir. Everyone has a story. This is the example. What's yours? 6 words. And then I'll give you Prodio's. This is our 6-word memoir of Creative Collective, because that's who we are. You see this gentleman up in front snapping my photo. This is Derek. He is one of our photographers of our Creative Collective. So he is a Creative Collective member. Together we grow. All right, 2 minutes. The how you go about updating your brand. Have a strategy. This one is so important from a lot of different reasons, but business owners, we're busy. And strategy keeps us aligned, it keeps us moving in the right direction, and it keeps us in a positive direction. We don't feel like we're drowning when we've got that strategy and we're working our plan. So creating that strong digital first impression, it's so important. No matter if you're a business that is brick and mortar or if you're a totally online business, the first time you meet someone in person, at a coffee, at a networking event, what's the next thing they're going to do? They're going to Google you, they're going to Google your business. They're going to see what your digital presence looks like, and that is a huge first impression. So make sure you optimize that. Professional photos, compelling copy that is consistent no matter where they find you, whether it's your social channels or your website, and make sure that that is all speaks together and is defining you in a memorable way. This is the name of the book. Content and engagement. Building that content that resonates, that demonstrates your knowledge and expertise, and that establishes you as a leader in the space. And engagement. Engagement does not mean that you spend 5 hours a day on social media just trying to talk to people. It doesn't. It just means that where you are, there is that presence, right? The brand voice is present, and you carve out some time, maybe it's on a weekly basis, maybe it's bi-weekly, to engage, to do those activities where they're meaningful, but it does not have to be a time suck if you have a strategy and you have a plan. Be genuine with your connections, and that really helps to strengthen your audience and your personal brand. Seek feedback and adjust. Like I said, this is not a set it and forget it. You're always continuing to refine. You're always continuing to, redefine your language and seek that feedback. If you've got a great client that you feel comfortable, ask them, hey, check out my website. Give me some pointers what I could do better. If you have a new client that just found you, how did they find you? What was that experience? We don't do it enough, but it's something that we recommend. Take that customer journey with your brand. Fill out your forms on your website. Take those steps that a customer or a client would to find you and see what that experience is like. You may find some things. Oops, I missed one here. Okay, I think that was all for those tips. We're going to turn it back over to Chelsea for social media.
Definitely, I want to make sure you didn't.
Oh, I did this time.
Yeah, continuous learning and
Yes.
growth of just investing in your personal development, improving your skills, and talking about those steps that you're taking is really important. Is to, like Kelly said, be authentic, be transparent to your journey. People really connect with that. Encourages them to speak to their journey as well. But yeah, so social media is a big topic. I wanted to quick circle back to your keep it short and simple. Is it kind of makes me laugh. There's something floating around that was like a Twitter post of when you're in school, it's like minimum 5 pages on this very specific topic. And then in the real world, it's like, tell me in 7 seconds or I'm out of here, I think it's, really creating little bite-sized pieces of messaging that's obviously going to relate to social media as well. And then also too, when you're building that personal branding copy and messaging, you may have a lot of great content on your website or on your LinkedIn profile, but is it like too heavy, right? It's not clear, it's not straightforward, or are you speaking to different people, but it's getting buried, right? So it might be just about reorganizing everything that you've got, and you've got all the pieces there already. But with social media, all these lessons are true, and then it's kind of pared down to this quick hit, and often a really great way that you can have multiple touch points with all different sorts of people. Maybe it's that prospective customer, maybe it's that recruiter, maybe it's even, a supervisor from a different vertical, right, that is connected with you on LinkedIn and can have insight into your career growth. So the most important thing with social media is that there is a lot of noise out there. There's lots of great ideas, I'm sure some of you in here have probably participated like in a TikTok dance or two with a social media manager that pops in one morning, but we're all about that it's not a one size fits all. There is no such thing as general rules. When it comes to social media, you need to be able to navigate the noise and find the right mix for what you're doing. This ranges true for social media and really all marketing activities. What works for, your neighbor business may not work for you based upon it. So it's about finding your right mix of these activities, building those within a strategy, and then testing, evolving, and refining over the process. You'll find you'll have optimization much quicker over time. One of the most important steps that you can take is really looking at personas. And personas is just kind of a fancy way of saying, take a look at who your perceived target audience is and break it down into sort of these fictional characters that represent a certain audience segment. So for instance, Kelly and I worked together at one point at a fridge bakeware company, and one of our main customer personas was modern mom Michelle. And whenever we were talking about new product categories, we were talking about social media, photography, any of that, modern mom Michelle was the representation of our core customer base. So it was always keeping her front of mind of like, okay, I know what I like, but is modern mom Michelle gonna like it? And this was a really great way to kind of judge those different ideas. And you can look at it from a couple different perspectives. User personas, if you're, got software, platform, that uses your company's product or service. You might have that young user that completely gets your new software platform, but then you might have a different demographic that needs more support, training, and resources. Buyer personas of who the ideal customer is based upon market and audience research. It also helps narrow down of like, do you really know who your customer is? There's multiple times where we do a lot of marketing or business brand audits, and personas is a big part of that. Because we sometimes start the conversation and it's like, well, actually your audience can't be everybody that breathes. We do have to narrow it down a little bit. And so it's even if we start with like, okay, who is that top current customer? Who is your ideal customer? And does that match your top current customer? It might be somebody totally different and you're like, I'm not attracting the people that I really ultimately want to be working with. Creating personas of each and seeing what the differences and similarities are will probably offer some really interesting insights. Also, the opportunity customer or that future down the road. Maybe you're working with a lot of, small clients and you want to kind of diversify your mix and bring some bigger clients. How are you going to change your approach or tailor messaging or add on a layer in order to attract them? So personas are a great way to really specialize and help create building blocks for sort of then your content pillars, which are a huge tool within social media. So once you have your personas figured out, start with that 3 to 5 of your top level personas, and then start creating content pillars. So content pillars are just themes. We recommend 4 to 8, don't go crazy here, that are aligned to your key messaging. So a great exercise is start writing down like all the different things that you would like to communicate to those personas. And then you can start bucketing them out into different themes, and there, voila, you've got your content pillars. Some examples here that we have is services of what you offer. How do you go about that, right? Maybe you offer the same service as a lot of other people in the area, but the way you approach that is your unique selling proposition. So you need to really highlight your services. Education, maybe like behind the scenes of the process, or what goes into what you do, right? If your problem is that people don't want to pay a reasonable amount for your product or service, maybe you need to educate your customer base on what all goes into it. Team spotlight, of course, the people behind everything that you do. Community, all the great connections and being out there, really partnering with other businesses and kind of create these affiliate relationships to leverage each other's audience base. And then certainly case studies. Social proof is really, really important and often a very big miss. You want testimonials, you want case studies, you want to highlight reviews, because that is a very compelling piece of evidence to people of why they should work with you. So if you get your content pillars in place and then put together a social calendar, we love pretty color coding, and we on a monthly basis and months ahead plan out those social calendars where we color block all those themes out, because then it's a really great tool to reflect back on of like, let's say, after the quarter, it's like, well, we had these goals to, do more services in this category. If we didn't achieve that, I go back to social media and I'm like, okay, well, this is the first impression for a lot of people, or to those audience members that are kind of, checking us out. Are we talking about it enough? And if I go back to the social calendar and we only talked about it once a month throughout that quarter, well then that didn't match up to what the priorities were. So this is a really great way to kind of adjust and then clear, concise of then how you can evolve that and how it impacts your business and go back and reflect. So content pillars, personas, great place to kind of do that reset for social media. So also want to share just some top social tips out there right now with lots of those different misconceptions, and certainly we'll have some time for questions too. So if you've got any other question about some top tips, but these are some things to keep in mind as well for social media. Number one is consistency is always better than quantity. So, you'll hear recommendations of you should be posting to stories every single day. You should be doing 3 to 5 posts a week. I mean, there's averages, sure, but the most important thing you need to ask yourself is what is the amount of social media I can be doing a week? This could be on Facebook, Instagram, or maybe it's just on LinkedIn. It depends on, your situation and what platforms make sense for you. But the answer is whatever amount you can do consistently. If you can do 1 post a week, that's awesome. If you can do 1 post a month, that's awesome. It's whatever you can do consistently, because it's not only important in terms of regularly getting your voice out there in front of your audience, this is also going to help train algorithms of these social media platforms to show your content to more people. If you haven't posted in 6 months and you put out there the best blog article you've ever written, you might get kind of your normal fan base that responds, and you feel like pretty, wins out your sales, right?
Yeah.
I put this awesome content out there and it didn't get much traction. Well, it didn't get much traction because you haven't trained people to look for it. You haven't trained the algorithm to put this in front of these different customer bases, or connections. So consistency, always over quantity. Also, viral posts do not equal success. And so lots of people are like, well, what can we do to get so many views on this? Again, consistency is key to build up to that. But also too, even when it's those total random success stories, it may provide you a little blip, but if you don't have the foundation figured out to add consistency to it, you're not going to be able to convert that blip. A great example is a client that we were talking to that was featured on one of the national morning shows. And this was completely organic. An editor found them, decided to feature them. They didn't know about it until 48 hours before. They have, limited production time and everything. And it was awesome. They sold out, the website crashed. It was like pandemonium, right? But then the problem is, and we kind of came in post that, is that, okay, so you got all these eyeballs on you, but now what? Did you have all those pieces in place to then lengthen that customer journey so all those people that went to your website and didn't get what they wanted, or all those people that did purchase, how are you going to bring them back again and again and really optimize that visibility? So it's really about the consistency and having strong foundations. Also, you want to be offering actual value, and if you pair that value with consistency, you'll definitely get success. Next tip, already covered it, use a social calendar. Can't express this enough. It also helps you, plan out all that copy all at once, so you can make sure and keeping track of all those bits and pieces of messaging that you're putting together. Also, repeat yourself. You sound like a broken record, but you have to think about it that each time different people are going to pick up on your message, and most people need to see your message multiple times. Think about, I'm assuming that most people in your are on Facebook or Instagram. And think about, the shopping ads. Do you always click and buy on the first go? No? Or if you see a new brand that pops up, you might see it 3, 5, 10 times before you ultimately, end up going to that website. I'm sure we have some salesmen in this audience today. Think about how many touch points you have in your customer journeys that in order to get even a conversation, let alone convert. So you have to approach social content the same way. You don't want to spam people with the same thing over and over again. Get creative, vary up your messaging for the different personas, but you're going to have to repeat yourself in order to get that message across and have it sink in. And of course, like I said, connect those social touch points to your customer journeys. Is your social talking to your website? You could be putting the best social content out there, but then ultimately if the way to convert your customer is for them to schedule an appointment on your website, or fill out a form, or submit a question, you need to make sure that all the dots are connected in order for social media to actually produce some value. And with that, a call to action or a CTA, excuse me, is really important. If you want the customer to take action, you got to tell them, and that can help you drive more of your content on your own. And then when you're talking about engagement too, is that even if you're not putting out a ton of content, engaging with others is super helpful, because again, that tells the algorithm, this person has connections to all these people, so when you post, I'm going to show their content to them. So you're kind of creating these different link ups, so it's really important to take a look at that. Also, be patient. Quality growth takes time. Any social client we work with, we say 3 months is just to establish a baseline. Just to figure out that strategy, get in a rhythm, and then you'll start seeing results after the fact. And most importantly, know your numbers. Look at the data and analytics. That's going to tell you everything that you need to know. So many times, and we've been in rooms where everybody's talking about how they feel how things are going. You may feel like it's great content, but let's look at the numbers. If it's not performing, that's going to tell us the directions that we need to go. So, question?
Just adding to the engagement part, liking or loving a post is not engaging.
Yes.
You have to actually comment and start conversations.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's not engagement.
Right.
So people think they're engaging by liking a lot of posts. It's not.
Right. Yep. You want to comment. You want to share. Like all those kind of next level engagement. No, that's a wonderful call out. So really quickly too, one of the frequently asked questions, or 3 frequently asked questions that we get, I don't know where to start, I don't know what I need, I don't want to waste money. Well, we've got 2 different examples here of some challenges that people face in social media and marketing in general, and what our kind of prescribed solutions would be. So, being at a loss of what to post, not gaining enough followers, not talking to the right people, they're obviously not converting, which then clearly you're not going to have an ROI. And ultimately you're like, I spend a lot of time on social and I feel like it's a total waste of time. Obviously the persona exercise, the calendar, looking at those journeys, how are people finding me, and then what journey do they go on? It's kind of like choose your own adventure, right? So what is the hook at the end of each one of those touch points that's going to push them in one direction or another? Visual, altering that to make sure that that's resonating with your audience. The CTAs of call to actions, people need to be told what the next step is. Reporting, and then of course that time plus consistency equals success. Example number 2 of, how are people finding me, or you feel like your website's not performing, you don't know if it's really converting because you haven't connected the dots between, when person walks in the door or calls you to what they find on the website. You're not looking at the visits, you want to be more visible, and you have a lot of people looking and leaving. You want to take a look at your SEO analysis. You want to look at your Google business profile, see if that's connecting, and see if you could add more value there. Social proof with reviews, prioritizing the messaging, CTAs, and certainly forms, one thing that's not directly attached to social media, but do you have forms or some way to capture that connection, right? So you can follow up and you can have a conversation with people. So, and finally, ways to support each other. So everybody in this room and everybody that we, connect with through the chamber, there's ways that we can all support each other on our personal branding journeys, especially through social media platforms. Just like you called out, the liking, the commenting, the sharing, doing some sort of combination of all of those to be able to really drive some great engagement. It's going to help the person that you're commenting on their content, and it's going to help yourself. And certainly celebrating. Celebrating can be, endorse them on LinkedIn, give a recommendation, write a Google review. Even if you haven't been their client, if you know them well through the chamber and you're like, wow, this person, really knows what they're talking about, or every time I talk to them, I learn something new. That would be a great way of like, hey, drop, even if it's a line or 2, Google review to help kind of boost it. And as a community, we can really have a big impact on each other. Really briefly, are there any quick social media questions? Lines. Tanya left the corporate arena 4 years ago as a senior revenue systems analyst for Trinity Health Corporate to enter into the family business. Tanya is a seasoned data analyst and corporate trainer, having strategically harnessed her expertise to revolutionize cost efficiency and overhead reduction. She excels in tailoring marketing strategies that resonate with the diverse age demographics of her clientele. And at the heart of her business are high-quality window treatments and ultrasonic blind cleaning services. Tanya is currently an event coordinator for the Chamber as well as an ambassador, and she has a commitment to empowering women in business through her role as trustee on the board of directors for Professional Women in Building. Tanya fosters open-mindedness and encourages personal growth, helping women to not only navigate but also excel in their professional fields. Thanks, Tanya, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Next we have Reem Akkad. Reem is the founder and principal interior designer of House of Reem. Reem is the founder of this business and as an interior design firm that has garnered 11 prestigious design awards since its establishment in 2011. She earned her interior design degree from Syria, a master's in it from MSU, and brings a unique East meets West perspective. Her firm works on commercial and luxury residential projects locally and nationally, most notable of which was an event designed at the Vice President's Mansion in Washington, D.C. Branching beyond interior design, Reem unveiled an innovative concept this past March, an interior design studio, art gallery, and furniture retail boutique all under one roof in downtown Birmingham. Her boutique showcases an array of curated and unique items from custom upholstery and luxury case goods to modern lighting, original artwork, and hand-picked antiques from across the globe, with each piece telling its unique story. The art gallery provides a platform for local artists to showcase their masterpieces, and Reem strongly believes in uplifting other businesses, seeing it as a win-win for all. And we also, joining us is Danielle Workman. She is a private wealth advisor for the Financial Center for Women. Danielle has a combined 35 years experience in the insurance and financial services industry and was previously on staff with the Birmingham Bloomfield Chamber. And for the past 4 years, Danielle's practice has focused on empowering women to understand and take control of their finances, helping them to achieve financial independence. Girl Talk is an open forum to ask any financial questions, and participants who are interested can plug into their workshops and podcasts to bolster their financial literacy and or engage the Financial Center for Women to assist in planning, investment, and financial risk management. A tremendous resource out there. So thank you so much for joining us, Danielle.
Thank you.
And then, of course, we know Kellie McCormick, partner at Prodio. But let's kick things off here with Danielle. I got a question for you. Why niche marketing, has actually created a bigger market for your business with women's specific needs? How did you find that niche? What led you to that?
Well, I've been a financial advisor for 10 years, and I'd say when everyone starts in the business, you're just looking for anyone who will listen to you, right? And the goal in our business is obviously to get clients and manage their money. And I felt like I was telling my own story a lot, which is that I was divorced, had 2 children, remarried, had another surprise child, and then my husband passed away, and we had owned a business that I needed to sell. And so the foundation of my work as a financial planner was really kind of birthed in the experience that I had gone through. And so as I realized that I wanted to work with clients that appreciated that experience, but also were more like me. I think at the core, most financial advisors want to work with clients that are like them, that, because you'll connect on a better level. And so when I switched firms, I met a business partner, and she was in the throes of a divorce. And I was widowed, and we said, gosh, we've got a lot really that we can share, not only from our own experiences, but our professional background that would help other women. So we just started writing blogs and putting together the Financial Center for Women as a place to come for that kind of information. And I had a little pushback from some of my male clients initially, like, hey, don't you like us anymore? And we are all inclusive. We do financial planning for men and couples and whatever that situation is. But our marketing is definitely aimed at that journey for women and the literacy that needs to happen with it. And I believe that there's a lot of emotions surrounding money, so really understanding our financial motives and our emotional motives, because if we can't walk with clients through the journey that they're on, it kind of the facts don't matter. I'll just say that, because I was recently working with someone who's going through a divorce, and I noticed that when she was on the call initially with their they're doing a collaborative divorce, so they're working together. I noticed that her body language, even on the Zoom call, was that she was turning away from the camera, and I could tell that she was visibly upset. So after our call, I made sure I reached out to her and asked if there was anything else she needed to talk about personally, because I could tell she wasn't okay. And as we went through the process, she was really impressed that I cared how she came through this journey so that she'd be okay after they were divorced, and not just how do we divide your assets and who gets what money. And so I'd say that marrying personal experience with professional resources is really what kind of has led us to starting a financial center for women. And the last thing I'll say is that anyone who's ever participated in a B&I group probably has heard the axiom that being specific is terrific. And really, the more you narrow your market, the more you actually create a bigger market, because I want people to associate with, oh, you're going through something and you need answers about your finances. Well, Danielle's the person that you should talk to. Now, if you're looking for an awesome money manager, I think I saw a few of my colleagues back in the room. They actually probably are much better at putting portfolio construction together. I'm going to give Al some props here, so I can see him looking my way. And and that's not going to be my forte. So if you're looking for somebody that does another specialty within our industry, you'd probably want to find somebody that has more experience in that area.
Definitely. Well, you provide incredible resources, and I think to your point of narrowing that focus makes those conversations a little bit easier to speak to that kind of key audience. I want to pass it over to Tanya here. Of how do you foster a culture of continuous improvement and innovation within your professional team?
Yes, well, first, a couple things. Good morning, sunshines. And thanks for having us here today. My husband says I tell stories in real time, so beware. But with regards to fostering things, there's two vital points in our team, so to speak, and that's caffeine and curiosity. So never a bad idea. Always be very interested. So that's what I encourage my team to do. So I recently went out to somebody's showroom and found out how innovative they were, and I took my entire team there. Found out that in their showroom, every single aspect of their displays, their cabinetry, everything, including their desks, including the little playground area with couches and everything that they had for the kids to play in, had wheels on it. So they could actually reconstruct their entire showroom anytime they wanted to. Anytime their team members had an inkling that this belonged over here a little bit better, this was more visually stimulating as the customers rolled in. So my team comes and tags along with me to express those innovative ideas and how can we outline that and bring them into our own company. So another thing is with regards to, you'll hear me always say, some of you know this already, hello sunshine, okay? So you want to express, you have said, Chelsea has said, bring your personality and authenticity into your innovative and your culture and your fostering of your team too. And the reason I say hello sunshine is not just to bring the energy up into the room. There's actually something behind that. I'm actually what's called an umbrophile, which is called a shadow chaser, which means that I go to solar eclipses around the world. Oh my gosh, are you so excited? What just happened? And just one-to-one. Wow. And if you ever get a chance, check out a TED Talk video that tells you why each of you should always experience something like that in life. We're meant to be explorers, and so it makes you look up into the stars and realize just how tiny and insignificant we are, and yet such a miracle that we are too. So these are the kind of things that we talk about as a team, and how we integrate something as simple as hello sunshine in when we're greeting our customers. And it brings that personality forward. It allows them to be a little bit less nervous, more personable, and it makes an impact on the people that you're approaching. So how many of us are in the market with so many different competitors, right? You work with great integrity. You have a beautiful and bold system and product or service that you're selling. What's going to make you stand out, what's your team stand out, is the charismatic personality that you bring with it. Networking, of course, getting involved, and also, a lot of us are in action groups, but are some of you in power teams, where you kind of section off just a little bit, and you really focus in on what trades complement you, so that you guys can be innovative together. I bring my team to those meetings too to foster those relationships. So don't forget also about dynamic teams, dynamic duo players within your team that can go to different trade shows, and then you can partner with, network with people there that are complementary to your industry too. So there's a lot of ways to bring your team in. Just recently, what we did is we had a downward market in January. Don't know how the rest of you felt about it, but January wasn't good for us. And what I was trying to do was reconstruct how we could get that revenue back that we lost from January. So we said, as a team, we met and said, okay, what are the things we hate to do? And I knew the first thing that was going to come up from all the voices of each of our team players, and it was, we hate blind cleaning the blinds in yachts and boats. But nobody else out there does that. I said, let's take a new spin on that. Why don't we like that? We don't like it because it harnesses new hardware that you'd find in the house. They're hard to get off. They're monogamy, side panels. A lot of times when we're cleaning it, we're going to some obscure parking lot and having to walk a long distance to bring it back to our ultrasonic machine. So I said, what if we were, for instance, showing the value of how much that we're doing for that customer in a high-end, type industry and society, and we say we're going to have to double our price, which means that in those type of jobs, you're going to learn a little bit more. And let's make it fun. Let's be transparent to our customers because we don't have any hidden fees. So let's say to them, yes, we're going to have to double our price because of the time element involved, but we're sending the best team out to you. And on top of it, do you mind if they wear some captain hats? And do you mind also if they play their favorite music? So Jimmy Buffett was in there, a whole array of different types of genres of music. But it was fun. And in tune, what we did was we created new customers from there, right, as a team, right, for something that we didn't like to do. We brought back our January revenue, which I had hoped that we had, and more. So
That's awesome.
that was fun.
Well, you touched on a few things. First of all, I think we know the first 2 words of your 6-word memoir. Hello, sunshine. Yeah. And then also, too, of in a crowded marketplace, understanding that lots of times you are kind of the special sauce, that is the differentiator in that because people want to work with you in those same services. So I want to go to Reem. And I want if you could share with us, in a highly concentrated industry such as yours, how you set yourself apart and what activities you focus on to differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
So good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming out, and thank you to Birmingham Bloomfield for having us, and to Prodio for bringing us on. That was very insightful. I started off doing interior design for high-end luxury projects, which is exactly where I wanted to be. But what I found was that I was doing these projects, I wasn't able to get that end result that I wanted. And why was that? Because we were spending 2 years in construction, the customer gets drained, budgets get drained, and by the end of that, I don't have a completed project. I don't have a portfolio because the client doesn't have enough money to complete the project. So they don't have the budget to do furniture, to accessorize, which everybody knows that's what gives you that completed magazine look. And so I went back and I was like, okay, not only am I not getting my portfolio photos, I'm spending 2 years of my time on these projects, but then also the compensation that I want is not there, because as designers, it's really, the design part is very rewarding, but the compensation is really in the sales of the furniture, accessories, and all of that. So I was losing out on a lot. So I decided, you know what, there's something I need to do differently. So what I decided to do is actually reframe how I present myself. And I started off as a designer, but I ended up branching out into a retail store. So as you guys heard, we just had our grand opening March 7th. And what I wanted to bring was something completely different to the table. I was benchmarking. I was looking out there and saying, what is everybody else doing? I don't want to spin my wheels and reinvent the wheel. I want to give people something that is not out there. And so I decided I was going to do this innovative concept of a design studio, but that is also a retail store, but not just any retail store. We sell furniture, we curate antiques. So I just went on an antiquing trip to England, brought back a bunch of really beautiful treasures, incorporated those in my vignettes. But then not only do we do that, but we also incorporate modern lighting and traditional lighting. And not only that, I also tapped into my heritage. And so mother of pearl is huge in Syria. That's handmade by artisans. And so I brought in some mother of pearl furniture and tied it into the vignettes. I even tied it into my actual construction, created these mother of pearl peacock columns imported from Syria, and just had them kind of compiled here. And it's interesting because those items, those unique items that are who I am, is what everybody ends up commenting on, is, wow, what is that? I've never seen that before. And so tying all of that together, presenting people with a completed vignette, so I'm not just a place where I'm selling stock sofas that match, you know, all neutral. I'm showing people how in your own home, even if you don't want to hire a designer, you can come in and look at these vignettes that are curated, and you can buy it off the floor, or you can kind of take that idea and do it in your own home. And then as an added component, I wanted to tap into local artists. I knew so many creative people around me because of my industry. And I was like, why am I going to fill my walls up with something that's not really meaningful to me? So I actually reached out to local artists. I do have some national artists as well, and I decided to create an art gallery component as well. So I'm lifting up these other people's businesses and partnering with them, giving them a platform where they can maybe showcase some of their work and maybe reach circles they may not have otherwise. But then I'm also kind of getting their light as well, because they're sharing their light with me and I'm giving them my platform. So it's actually a win-win for all. So we're really happy with where everything is at now. We hope you all visit us. We're in downtown Birmingham on Woodward, north of 14 miles. So that's my story.
No, that's great. And definitely, we all need to pay your store a visit, because we unfortunately didn't make the grand opening. I know some of you in the room had, but if you've seen the pictures, absolutely stunning. But, you know, I think that everyone, you know, really speaking to collaboration, leaning on others in supporting each other, getting that feedback, and really helping each other to innovate.
And
you
being
know?
innovative in your approach. That's what I was
Yes.
going to say. It's just, I love the innovation in the approach.
Yeah, and I really can't emphasize enough of, you know, working with others, getting that feedback, and, you know, through those experiences and everything that really help navigate that journey of personal branding and what that right fit is for you. We're a little bit short on time, and I know we have an excited drawing here. We'll stay up here around this table so far as questions or, you know, collaborating on anything. We'll be here after it, but I'm going to hand it back to Annie here. I want